If you've ever felt like the third wheel, this podcast is for you.
If you love Wheel of Time, this podcast is for you.
If you're bored and have nothing better to do, this podcast is for you.
Join Rob,
Megan,
And Jen
in celebrating the Wheel of Time
and its statistically best fandom
and ridiculous gaming skills,
and probably a few cocktails.
and find out which one of them will be the third wheel this time.
This is
three-wheeling.
I'm so glad it makes sense as that happens, because I was actually saying it as we said it as it was going through.
I was too, actually. I was like, it's
That's what
now...
That makes me the third wheel. I was staring off into space. I was like, oh
Straight
no,
off.
I just got tired.
No, honestly, I saw you doing it, Jen, and I was like, I have to do it as well.
That's
And
hilarious.
I think at WhatCon next year, we should play the music without our voices, and then we should actually just speak over the top and do the intro.
Oh no,
that's
I would
great.
need a script. I
I
definitely
feel like we need the script exactly in front of us.
Well, the funny thing is, I wouldn't remember who's who, like who does which
no,
part,
yeah.
because
yeah.
I can never remember which one of us says what.
That would be
And
the
then
fun
see if we
bit.
can say it together at the same time, actually.
Yes. No practicing though. We'd have to do it completely unpracticed. I think.
Oh yeah, it should be. It should be. I'm here's my ASMR for today. Oh, never mind. That didn't work. I just broke it.
Hey, what did you?
What are
just
you
break?
doing?
I'm trying
Are you lighting?
You lighting a match?
to light a match. I'm just hitting my microphone. Because
Why?
I was gonna light it.
Who uses matches anymore?
I do. I'm trying to light a candle.
Hey! There we go.
Ooh, that was
Oh,
I
nice.
nice.
still got ASMR once it worked.
It did. I
And
see
then-
for you. You
And
got
then
it so
the
close
foam
to
on your
mic.
microphone.
Yeah, the foam goes.
lights on fire.
That'd be a good sound as well.
That probably would make really interesting sounds.
I just hear the cartoon. The
Hang
cartoon.
on, I just
Boom.
heard things drop
Yeah.
upstairs and Troy's got a bum leg. I'll be right back.
Oh, it's oh yeah, folks.
Yeah.
We're gonna try and keep this a tight recording,
Yes.
because Meg has a recovering husband.
Yes.
She said it was his ACL. He had.
Yes. He had to get ACL.
He's
surgery
all
this
good.
week.
He's
okay.
okay.
All right.
Yes. I just want to make sure he didn't fall. Like
Right.
hurt. So
Right.
Yeah.
And the girls were just like, oh well.
well, I think they're at the next door neighbors. So
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
All right.
That's not so bad. Troy, don't move, please. Stay
Yeah.
there, Mr. Hogs.
right.
So, all right. So yeah, we're gonna try and keep it a concise recording. We didn't manage this last time. We tried to do episode recording, and we're challenging ourselves to do 2 episodes this
Uh-huh.
time.
Yeah.
Because we looked at our schedule and the possible release of when season 3 will come out, and if we don't do 2 episodes, basically every episode going forward, we would not be done with season 2 before season 3 came out. So
Exactly.
quick, concise, to the point. Meg,
Yes.
what are we drinking?
We are drinking a dose of yellow. So again, trying to get all of the Ajah cocktails out. So anyway, the inspiration for this was this cocktail represents the Yellow Ajah, of course. Yellow in color, and it has a bright lemony citrus flavor that would sort of taste like a strong dose of vitamin C a yellow sister might give you after healing or something. So the recipe in a shaker with no ice, because it's got the egg whites, so no ice to start. You pour 3/4 of an ounce of vodka, 3/4 of an ounce of limoncello, 3/4 of an ounce of elderflower liqueur, Saint Germain preferred, 1 ounce of lemon juice, 1/2 ounce of simple syrup, and then 1 egg white, or if you have which I just have a whole thing of egg whites, I just do about 1 ounce of egg white, and then you dry shake until it gets foamy, and then you add the ice, shake until cold, and then strain into a coupe glass.
It is very
Enjoy.
beautiful.
It is very beautiful.
Cheers.
I have a question about, you just have like a whole jug of egg whites randomly?
It's an American thing.
That's an American thing.
They sell
Okay.
it. It looks like it's in a milk carton. Comes like in a milk carton, and it's just the whites of eggs. They
Just
remove the yolks.
that is, I have, my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. I have
And this is why all Americans have cancer.
Yeah, it's better.
I mean, it's
better
got
than
nothing. Oh, seriously, don't even get. If you want to be freaked out
Alright.
about chemicals and things, go and watch. I don't know if it's on your Netflix. I've just watched it. It's on ours, called Dark Waters. It stars. I never remember this guy's name until I see it. I'm like, oh, of course, that's his name. The guy who does Hulk in the Marvel movies.
Mark Ruffalo.
Mark
Ruffalo,
Ruffalo.
yeah.
Yes, Mark
Mhm.
Ruffalo's in it. And Hathaway plays his wife. There's a few other folks in it, but it's about scandal about chemicals and Teflon and all sorts of shit, and it will
Mhm.
terrify the crap out of you folks.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, so apparently they have egg whites like that in Norway as well. So maybe we have them here, and I just don't.
Oh.
I buy eggs and just I don't know. But yeah, it looked good. My ASMR moment. I'm doing the classic rattle and rum. There's your ASMR, and Jen, it's pretty early. I'm sure you're not on a cocktail.
I'm not on a cocktail. I'm gonna be drinking. I almost considered putting, like some Baileys or something in my coffee.
Rum
but-
chata might actually be really good.
Oh, rum chata is good in coffee. I do that.
coffee,
Around the holidays, but I'm not. I have to work this morning.
Yeah, the coffee
That's
I had at brunch this morning was like a cinnamon something in the coffee, and I think it was probably rum chata, and it was really good.
That sounds amazing.
So I'm
That's
on
very
drink number 2
responsible.
today.
Good for you.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
So
Early
we
recording.
Exactly.
Meg, it's been a little not like crazy on the socials, but there's been a bit of activity on the socials.
Yeah.
are
what
we-
are you talking about? Yes. Do you see the document? There's so many things.
No, that's why I was being a little ironic.
Facetious.
But
Yeah, that too.
you gotta cover the best part. You save the best for last, maybe. Oh, you know
I
what the best
did.
for last is never. You don't know. Just go. I'll jump
Oh.
in with the best.
Okay. Well, on Priyanka's Insta, Maya and Priyanka were hanging out, being super lovey-dovey and like kissing each other.
Mhm. Oh
Really
yeah,
hot.
Very
hot.
green.
it was
Ajah
very hot.
style.
I agree. Having seen Maya in person, not that I thought she was ugly before, she's definitely always been beautiful, but having seen her in person, I was just like, wow, that was like, yeah,
Mhm.
it was
Yeah.
it was a
Yeah.
it was a spicy green photo. For
I
sure.
think David was
It
like,
very spicy.
are they together? And I'm like, they might be right at this exact minute, maybe. But
And then on Sibylla Medi's Insta, although the caption says it was 2022, it's got Marcus and Hamad hanging out. They look to be dancing. I think Zoe was there. I think it looked like Maddie as well, but it was hard to tell. Like there's something covering her face, but I think it was her. From Maddie's Insta, looks like she's in Jenn's neighborhood. Oh, was that what you were going to talk about?
yes.
Was that saving the best for last? Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Literally, actually, in my neighborhood, like
I know.
one of the storefront that she posted that cute picture of her in front of the weird puppets
Mm-hmm.
in the store. That is actually in my neighborhood. It is where it's like right across the street from the kids' school. I walk past that almost every day, and then
And yet you didn't see her.
I did not see her, and she did not come knock on my door. And like I'm right here, but then
That's terrible.
Then she posted in that section with the land of Cybertrucks. I was like, the wall that she's standing in front of also looks like a wall from Los Feliz, so that may be from my neighborhood. And the other one she posted Los Feliz, like it says Los Feliz, not just Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And then like my neighborhood, and then she posted another one of a view like outside of a house, like out the house window that she was looking at, and I was like,
right, yeah,
that looks like
your skyline.
the view from my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry if I
'Cause
keep
I live up
ducking
on
out
the
on
hill.
camera, by the way, folks. My new cat on here just came in. He did appear on camera for a second. He let me pick him up. He wasn't overly comfortable with it, but he did let me do it.
He's a little camera shy, but he'll get there.
He's a little camera shy. He's a little shy about a lot of things. But that's super exciting that she's like basically in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like probably was hanging out at restaurants, but I think she's back. She just did a podcast like this later this week with a group from Sydney. Obviously, you can do podcasts from anywhere in the world, as evidenced by this podcast. But but it's something about what she posted made me think she might have been back in Oz.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So that was that.
It's so weird when they're in your backyard though. Like that time when I came back from whatever trip I was on, and fucking Raga is at a football game at Manchester City Stadium.
Oh, right.
And
Yes.
posting about it, and I'm like, wait, that's the opening to the game that's on this very moment. And wait, in front of me across the street as the tram goes down the road that I'm sitting on is the stadium. I know she's actually in that stadium right this very second. It's a weird feeling.
Yep.
So
Oh, and like Taylor was flying here during our last recording. Like Taylor was literally in flight, flying to LA, and
we're not stalking
and you were
his flight by
stalking
any
him.
means whatsoever. You know?
Not at all. I wasn't stalking. I'm not discussing. I'm not a scary, frightening person. But anyway, but yes, and who knows if Rafe was with him at that point? Maybe they're
This
all
is true.
meeting with Maddie here to talk about her brilliance.
Also keep the eye out for Yosha. So he said he's going to be in New York and LA in October and November, looking for creatives, photographers, etc. to work with. And then from Max Ellis Fisher's Insta, he, Sibylla Mehdi, Maya, Hamad, hanging out getting drinks. From Ayula's Insta, picture of Kate Fleetwood's billboard for her new show. So I think a bunch of them are coming. That was also on Zelia, who played Rena.
I can confirm that
oh, right,
Ayula, I was at that play on Wednesday night. I can confirm that Ayula, Kira, Maya, and Zelia all came to watch the play. We were sat up on the first floor up, so you would call that the second floor. And on the opposite side of the stage, because the stage is in the middle and the seats go all the way around, on the opposite side in the entrance on the ground floor, the first floor, as you would call it, they walked in and I saw Iola first. That's Iola. And then like the rest just came in with them. And we tried to hang out with them afterwards. Like we were trying to wait around, but they all went off. That has like two bars. One of them's private, one of them's public, and they all went to the private bar. But they did. Kira and Maya left straight away, and then came back like 10 minutes later with a giant bunch of flowers for Kate. And Kate was fantastic. I'm going to do a review of the play without spoiling the play because there's a point to not spoiling the play. But yeah, she was incredible. It was so much fun. It was a really, really good play. Really, really
that's great.
Yeah. So can confirm they were there because I saw them in person.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Right. I meant to ask you about that. Yeah.
I love it. Helia was there. Is it Zelia or Helia? I've always pronounced it with the Spanish pronunciation.
I always said Zelia, but yeah, I don't know.
I think Zelia.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then last thing, which I thought this was so fucking cute, from Maya's Insta, it was Ayula, Marcus, and Yosha, and obviously Maya, all went to an escape room.
Like a horror one, it looked like. It was very cool.
Holding, like butcher knives and whatever. And they had blood all over them. It was so cute. And then just like some cute pictures of them like walking along the street. And then Yosha was walking his dog, and it was just adorbs. So
yeah, it's been a lot of like
this Jazzy DeLither chick hanging out with Maya again too. So I don't know who she is. I mean, we talked about her before. I don't know.
We have talked about her before.
Yeah,
we'll have to keep an eye on that Jazzy. I think so. But yeah, a lot of fun, cute hanging out stuff. I really love it.
Yeah, it's very cute.
Yeah. Okay. Time for episode discussion.
Yes.
Let's get on it.
We're
challenging ourselves to do 2 episodes at a time because they are done in blocks of directors. We thought that was a good way to do it. So, Jen, why don't you tell us who is the director and the writer or writers for these episodes, if you know that as well? I didn't ask you about that pre-show.
Yes, I can get that really quickly. The director of this episode is Wayne Yip. These 2 episodes. So remember that they do these in blocks, which for the directors is really kind of, they can just sort of see the whole arc through and they record them, like you can shoot part of episode 4 before you've shot a section of episode 3, if it's in the same location. It just gives a little continuity and it's a kind of nice way to do it. So I think I love it. I love it. And so, and it's like shooting a movie, it's like
it's like a 2-hour movie block,
basically. So so this one was directed by Wayne Yip, who also went on to direct. I thought he directed in season 2. I was wrong. It was because I was remembering his name from Fallout. Directed in Fallout as well, which is interesting. So speaking of Zelia Mendez, did not have crossover with them because they weren't in season 1 of Wheel of Time. But anyway, just saying, like, it's a little crossover there. Yeah. So did clearly making some Amazon heads turn if they brought Wayne in for that show as well.
And I mean, not to get a little bit off topic, but Sana Hamri also directed some episodes of Rings of Power.
Correct. That's right.
Yeah, it's like Amazon is
Mhm.
cultivating a little group of
They have
directors
like
they
a
love.
pool of directors. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
You just imagine
I
that
mean,
they go to showrunners and be like, these are the directors you can choose from.
Mhm.
These are
Right.
like on-staff directors or something. I don't know. That's not how
They're
do
like
it,
in a cabinet or refrigerator, and then you just pull them out.
just pull out these ones, put them back in when you're done with them, you know.
yeah, so
And it makes
basically how you feel when you work in Hollywood. Like you're just on somebody's shelf until the day that they need you again. And then yeah, it's a thing.
Wow.
All right, it is. I know it's true. I mean, I always get horrified when I go to the museums and you see like the letters like that MGM like wrote a letter saying we're gonna loan you somebody if we get Olivia
Oh,
de
that sounds
Havilland.
very icky.
Oh yeah, it's like trading.
Yeah, it
It's
makes you
sort of
sounds like
like
a possession.
yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does. Like what Olivia de Havilland belongs to us, but you can have her for Gone with the Wind or whatever. It's weird. It's gross. All right, I'm not finding the writers I don't have it written. I didn't write it down. That's the one. I'm a writer. I don't care who wrote these. I'm such a jerk.
I'm going to
That's
IMDb
fine.
right now.
I should
Go
have
for
it
it.
right here.
That's
It's
okay.
here.
Oh, you have it?
Yes. Directed by, written by. Okay, hang on. Yep. I got them right here. Yeah. The third one is written by the Clarkson twins, and the fourth one is written by Dave Hill.
Nice.
Yeah. And I think this was the Clarkson twins' very first episode ever, I believe.
Of Wheel of Time, or just first thing they've ever written?
The first thing they'd written for like big TV.
Okay, right.
Yeah. Like they'd written theater, I believe, before this.
Oh, cool.
I think.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So almost like the fact that we're getting a lot of actors who have done theater work
Mhm.
coming into the show. They're also like, yeah, you've done theater writing, bring you in for that as well. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, they
That's
had
nice.
definitely done some different some different things. Like they had not done traditional TV as far as I know. And interesting because Dave Hill has I believe their credit actually in this season, the Clarkson twins is story editor, which in animation story editor is top dog and in live action story editor is bottom. Like yeah, story editor is there's story editor and there's staff writer, and those are low actually in live action TV. It's weird. Anyway, yeah, but would be fitting if this was their first. Like that's fitting that would be the credit that they get at the end.
That makes sense.
And Dave Hill has a bigger credit.
Yeah,
but yeah, so that's our
Cool.
block. That's our block from the creative side.
I want to kick it off with. I was watching these 2 episodes, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't prioritize my time very well this week, and I had to sort of rush through a little bit when I was like, okay, I completely remember the scene now, like skip ahead sort of thing.
Mhm.
So I didn't watch every single moment, listen to every single piece of dialogue, but in sort of like a speed through watch, this felt very much like the first 2 episodes kind of set up Emmons Field. Here are your main characters. Here's the danger. Now you're on the run. These 2 episodes almost felt like to the TV show what Shadow Rising feels like to the books, where it doesn't open up the world completely, but compared to what we've seen in the first 2 episodes,
yes,
this was like, here's exposition about the Aes Sedai, here's exposition about Lan and his history, here's exposition about the Water Bond, here's exposition about the dragon.
I wrote exposition a lot in my notes, like exposition 4.
Yeah.
It's go ahead, Rob. I'm sorry.
No. I was just basically carrying on that point.
Yeah, but it's so well done. I mean, I didn't write exposition because to me exposition is a bad word. But I wrote down. I couldn't believe how much they set up for the freaking end of the series in these 2 episodes. Like I just felt like they set up so much stuff, and they just dropped a little hint here and a little hint there and a little hint there. There's
Be
some
specific because that didn't come across to me.
There's more. Some of my bigger ones of those are actually in the next block. So when we do our next episode, I'll talk some more those more specific ones. In the next block, there's some things that are literally straight out of the last battle at Sheol, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, Meg, what are your thoughts before we get into the granular? When you watch these 2 episodes, what was your
overall like? So what I kind of noticed, and actually I literally like paused and wrote down and rewound a couple times. Matt had a lot of really good one-liners in these 2 episodes.
It does. I mean, that's not how road works, but
Right. But there were so many, and some that I feel like I missed the first, like, or the whatever, first, second, third, fourth time around, like that I
Yeah.
caught this time. I was like,
Yeah. Isn't it?
yeah.
Oh, so you do humor now, or you're funny now? What is? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one of those isn't
There's
that?
a
Yeah.
bunch
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. This is, I have to say that so David and I went back and watched the pilot a few weeks ago, just because I don't know why we wanted to. Oh, it was before David came on. He was like, I just want to rewatch the pilot just to be like, as fresh as possible coming in.
Uh-huh.
And then we couldn't stop. And we were just going to watch the pilot, and they were like, well, just watch the second episode, and then we'll just listen to the third episode. And when we got to these 2, he was just like, I miss Barney. Like, he loves Barney so much. He loves Barney's Matt
Barney
so much.
was great.
Yeah, and so is
Mhm.
Donald. It's a different thing. But he just like when we were, and it's hard because when you go back and watch one, the longing for Barney happens. But then when you're fully immersed in 2, you're like, no, this makes sense. Matt is Donald. It makes sense. And then I have thoughts on that as well that I'll talk about tomorrow. But yeah, like it's just there's yeah, it's hard. It's hard to watch an actor get recast. It's just a tough transition no matter how you cut it. Same thing with House of the Dragon.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think the fact that Barney, and we're skipping ahead here, so I won't be too much, but Barney not being in episode 7 and 8 does kind of transition you into like the adjustment period of them without Barney. So then when Donald comes back in for season 2, like it's not quite a, it's not like he was there at episode 6 and then Donald's there at episode 7 type thing. Can you imagine if it was one episode to next? That would be very jarring. 2 episodes without him rounding off the season and then Donald coming in makes it an easier adjustment, I think.
For sure. For sure.
And surprisingly, they did get 2 actors that do, I don't know, like they don't look alike, but they have a similar.
Oh, they so look alike. I'm sorry. It's,
I don't know.
I know there's lots of people who's going to be like, is that the same actor?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking back to like Game of Thrones with Dario Naharis, and those 2 actors couldn't have looked more different. I'm watching Everyday Negroes like watch Game of Thrones for the first time, and they're like, "Who's this guy?" Like they had no idea
that one was jarring because it's also like there's so many weird characters. I mean, in a different way, the show of that had so many characters to keep track of that it was confusing. Anyway, there were a lot of like seemed to be smaller sort of throwaway characters, and then agreed. That one was like very confusing.
I mean, keeping
like they didn't even try to make him look similar. Like the other guy had a long blonde wig. This guy had short brown hair. It's just
it was a complete change. They may as well have cast just a
new character.
Anyone in that, just a new character. But keeping still on the Donald thing, keeping the jacket that Barney wore in season 1 for Donald to wear in season 2 also helps continuity, which Nels has just thrown in live chat as well. But he has some great one-liners, particularly in episode 3. But another thing I noticed about this, and just flick you back because I've got it on the screen in front of me, I felt like they paired everybody off very, very quickly. Which I'm trying to think back to when I first watched it, was obviously them trying to do what happens in the first book, where Matt and Rand run off together, and then Perrin and Egwene gets set off, and so on and so forth. And it is obviously what happens in the books, but it felt like it made sense just for watching it anyway, which I feel like
you get to know the characters better when you only have 2 of them interacting. When you have a whole group, people get lost,
it felt more like actually this makes sense for the story and the writing as opposed to let's do it because it's what happens in the books.
Because it gives us a chance to get to know them.
Which I didn't expect on a rewatch to feel like, because the first few times I'm like, this is what happens in the books, that's why they've done it, blah blah, and now I'm like, no, this actually feels better for the story because we're getting to get to know the characters better, seeing them interacting in different environments and stuff. So
I also feel like they give I feel like because the arc of this whole season is who is the Dragon Reborn. The first 2 set up that we don't know who it is, and they're all we don't like. There's really nothing pointing to anyone in particular in the first 2 episodes. I don't think, except for the setup of Egwene with at the end of the last episode when Maureen is showing Egwene that she can use the one power. I feel like
Right.
there's a little bit of a like I think they're hinting, and I think they lean into Egwene from the beginning, and they want us there. That's where they're pointing us. In this episode, I feel like this block of these two, mostly tell us it's Nynaeve, but maybe it's Matt.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's, and it's a really nice setup because at this point, we as the audience, up until the very end of the last episode, think that Nynaeve is dead.
Mhm.
And then, and then the arc of these 2 episodes is Nynaeve's arc. She comes in, like, shows us she's like, she survived the Trolloc attack. She tracks down Lan and Moraine. She's, does like meets the Aes Sedai, learns more about them and about herself, meets Leandrin, is smart enough to recognize Leandrin's a snake. And then at the end of these, I mean, not to get to the end of our episode, but the end of this episode is brighter than the sun. So, I think that this is the first introduction of there might be 5, because we meet Dana in this episode and she says it's one of the 5 of you.
Yes.
And Matt is like, what are you talking about, 5? And so,
well, and then it automatically on one of those, it cuts immediately to Logain. No, to Logain.
Oh, to Logain. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I made
So
a
I
note
do.
of that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So I do
Mhm.
think that, but I do think this is when they're like, I think these blocks become the places where we explore it might be someone not Rand. I mean,
Yeah.
again, we as the book readers know, but I think it is a place where we see that. So I think that this is Nynaeve, and then we see Matt starting to change because of the dagger, and we see his darkness because of the dagger, and we are also continuing to say at this point we don't know if the dragon will break the world or save it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Especially with the introduction of Logain right here at the
Mhm.
beginning, at the beginning of this too, and or the beginning of the next episode when he says, I'm here to save us and bind us.
Yeah. I hadn't considered how much this is like Nynaeve's block, but now you've said that, it really stands out that the other two pairs are doing things like, we get a little bit of Perrin's story when he meets the Tinkers, and that beautiful, story with Isla
and her daughter.
Isla, and her daughter, and I say
Mhm.
beautiful in multiple uses of that word, because
Mhm.
obviously
Right.
there's
It's
components of
horrible.
that story
Yeah.
that are not beautiful, but
Yeah.
she tells it in such a beautiful and compelling way,
Yeah.
regardless how you fall on that spectrum. And we get that, we get Rand and Matt exploring his darkness and meeting dark friends and stuff like that, but their story doesn't move them along very much, or the main story along very much, but Nynaeve's interactions like move everything along.
Mhm.
They up the ante on what's happening, they move development of her along, they move development of other characters along. Rand and Matt is just like, Matt's going cuckoo and dark, and Rand's trying to deal with it, and Perrin and Egwene are just like, Egwene's like, I want to channel all the time, I want to be a tinker, I want to do this, I want to do that, and Perrin's just like, I'm lost and trying to pretend I'm not.
Right.
Like nothing
Right.
moves along with the main story for any of them, but Nynaeve moves everything along.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
really like it's really her arc, and they're dropping just like you said, all the little exposition pieces in. So, we see there is something Egwene says that's like down the line, and the wolves come and chase them, and the wolves like, well, they've already licked Perrin's leg, but the wolves come and like herd them. And so we're just setting up little tiny pieces of their stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. Just
No,
got
no.
meowing at me now. Yeah, he's just come back in again. Dude, I'm just...
Aren't you paying attention to
Do
me?
you want to come up? Are you gonna come on? There we go.
Oh
All right, come up with me. Yeah, are you gonna go
Oh.
on the desk?
Something I did want to talk about too.
Yes.
So I actually watched the opening credits, which interestingly, it didn't provide me the option to skip intro.
Oh, I
That's
still
weird.
got that option.
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't letting me, so I went through it. I think we're definitely getting the Dream Terangrial, because I think the logo has the Dream Terangrial in it.
Oh,
Like, because it's the snake biting its own tail, but it's twisted.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Now typically an Ouroboros is meant to signify infinity, as is also the
Right.
wait, what's the word
Great
for the
Serpent Ring.
No, sorry, there's a word for the wait, there's a word for this.
Oh,
Sorry, I have mine right
the
here.
math thing.
This thing. whatever this is. No, like
Yeah.
whatever this is when it's called, when it's a turn. So anyway, this is the stone
Oh,
triangle
right. When the ring goes round on itself and just
on itself,
continues
and so
to
it's
rotate.
it's one continuous line.
Yeah.
And sometimes an Ouroboros is, I mean, the idea of both of those rings is eternity.
Mhm.
And so I wonder if we're not going to get the dream terangrial because they've pushed this into that. I love your face, Rob, right now. Rob is getting a little tail
Has
wash.
a mustache.
Little tail.
Yeah, I just have this.
It's great.
So he's just on a small tangent for a second. This is fairly typical cat behavior, but he seems very prone to it. As soon as your hand moves down his back, he's like, my ass needs to go in the air because you need to scratch my ass, in effect.
Mhm,
Not his actual, just like the sides of his legs.
Yes.
But yeah, his butt goes up. So
Tail is killing me.
yeah, it's just there, like right on the camera. You can't see anything of the rest of him. Like his head's
Nope.
there, like off
Nope.
camera.
Yeah.
But you just see his
Tail.
tail wagging in front of my face.
Hello,
Yeah.
O'Neill. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome. Yeah. I don't know if you can hear him purring. Let me see if I can move the can you hear him purring?
No.
No, it's
Mm.
too deep for the mic to pick
Oh,
up. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. They removed the credits in the second season, didn't they? So
the
Well, but I think-
opening sequence.
Well,
yeah,
I think they
yeah,
still
the
have
sequence.
the logo though.
yeah,
the logo is still there
that's
in
true.
season 2, but the title
Yeah.
sequence with
The
the
title sequence is
tapestry.
gone.
But that's what I'm
The
saying.
tapestry.
Is like I think that because that logo clearly has Stone Ring Terangrial vibes, that they're gonna definitely put it in.
They could do.
Okay.
Am I the third wheel on this one?
Maybe you're the third wheel on that
I
one.
think of the third wheel on this one. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that I would love to have, well, look, I don't think it's really tricky. We spend so much time. I mean, just to start to project a little bit for a second, we spend so much time in Tellerandriad, and it's the place of communication between everybody. And so Egwene being a dreamer and her not needing a ring, I love. So maybe they will do something else, like they will steal back the plaques and things from the Black Ajah, and then Elaine can create
Or they
something.
just steal the stone ring from the Black Ajah.
Well, whatever it might be. But I guess what I'm saying is
Right.
that I wonder if Egwene will never use a device.
I'm
Because
not
I think
saying,
it is.
I don't think Egwene will. I honestly
Yeah.
don't. But I
Yeah.
think that it will come into play with Nynaeve and Elaine.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. And
Mhm.
it could be that Elaine figures out how to make one. I mean, as she does in the books as
Mhm.
well. But
Yeah.
that doesn't work as well. But I think it gets. I don't know. I think giving Egwene the actual terangrial and then having her learn how to do it on her own is sort of like, well, why did she need the stone before?
Right.
Why did she
Yeah.
need the ring? I think it's easier.
Which
just-
honestly, like in the book, doesn't totally make sense either.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm being fair.
Somebody's
Yeah.
Is it me? Is that better?
It's gone.
that is better. Was that your phone?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
I mean,
My ring was going off, so I don't know.
oh yeah, that'll be
Oh
it then.
yeah, it was
yeah.
ringing.
Yeah, it's the radio waves coming in for the phone, or the microwaves
Okay.
coming in for the phone.
Now I'm wearing
This
the ring.
all has just knocked my Nintendo Switch off the desk.
No.
But yeah, go on. I don't know. It's on the radiator. I'm hoping it's in one piece. I can do this actually as well. I had a point to raise. So I got really into watching the cold open for the 4th episode with Logain because
Mm-hmm.
it really showed the change that Alvaro has brought to Logain from.
I thought
1
the
to
same
season 2.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's,
very seems under control,
yeah,
and then not.
and yeah, the presence was different, the confidence,
Yeah.
the comfort. He doesn't have any of that in season 2. But then, as I was watching, I watched with subtitles. I'm, showing my age there, whatever. I feel like I'm going deaf, so it's better than having the TV cranked up a million miles. It mentioned a name, and I don't know if anyone's picked up on this, and I don't know if this happened at the time. And I checked the X-ray, and I was like, it's there in the X-ray as well. And I'm like, this is what's going on.
Is this from the Taint Puppet?
The Taint Puppet, yeah. Now you can see, like, it's in the cast listing as well. So Alusha Salid. Did we remember? Did we pick up on this?
I do remember us kind of talking about it at some point, or somebody talking about it at some point, not us. Yeah,
because it's Rebecca Tanwin portrays Ilusha Salid. And I'm like, who the hell is that from Wheel of Time? Because he just came up, Ilusha. And I'm like, who the fuck is Ilusha?
Isn't
And
it
I
a
was like,
sister or
I've forgotten
something?
this.
I felt like there was some allusion to the fact that it was his sister.
I know, I did too.
Ah.
That it was his sister who had died. That there was some allusion to
And
the
let me
idea that.
see. I'm going
But
to.
Salid is not Ablar. I don't know what Salid
No,
is.
Salid is not his name, but the character is listed as Salid. And now I'm going to get the companion out because at the time when I was watching, I
Okay,
didn't
wait.
come up
What's
with
the? How do we spell the name?
Elusha.
Okay, good, because I was spelling it like
A good thing I didn't
like,
open it yet.
I was spelling it like Salusha from
What?
Tuan Salusha.
Okay.
And I'm glad it's not spelled that way because I had thoughts when we get to
Well, she's not in the companion. I'll say that right now.
okay.
I need to
And
know
it
my
doesn't
design.
look like it's on the Watt Wiki either.
So this has to be someone made up just for the TV show.
Yeah.
Rebecca has been in Nutritiously Nicola in the Wheel in 2018, the Wheel of Time, the Strata, and she was in Othello in National Theatre Live in 2013. Yeah, nothing else in details from her, but yeah, I'm like, who the hell is this? So, because the name doesn't, like you say, the name doesn't match. It's not Ilusha Abla. So I was confused.
Yeah.
And I think it was that bit that got me more than Ilusha. Like, I feel like I not necessarily remember the name, but I feel like there was a name floated around. But
well, he does say that he hears all of the thousands of dragons that came before him. So
yes, he
maybe
does.
she's
A former dragon.
past dragon.
A past dragon. Okay.
Also, because we are playing at this point that dragons can be any gender, so it could just be that he says that, and it could just be that they picked a random.
Which, speaking of that, I didn't clock it. Like one of the other times I've watched it, Moraine, I think when she's talking to Leandrin and Alana, she said something like, "There have been many false dragons before, men and women proclaiming themselves." Which that would be interesting. About a woman proclaiming herself.
Right.
You know?
Because do you still her?
Right.
Yeah, she wouldn't go crazy like a man would. And on top of that, would she not potentially? No, she wouldn't necessarily be nice because they're terrible for recruiting. It's like, if you don't walk in the front door, we don't know you exist.
Exactly.
It's like,
Right.
Exactly.
Tell me you're lazy. Tell me you have a department that's not in use without telling me you have a department that's not in use, and that department is recruiting. It's like, what's this big dusty room in here for? Mistress of recruitment? Fuck off. Don't need that.
Right. Mistress of recruitment. Why don't they have a mistress of recruitment? The mistress of novices should be either if she's as lame as Sheriam is in season 2 of like not actually paying attention to what everybody's doing. Why isn't she out
in her novices?
Side? Yeah,
maybe that's why there's no recruitment, because she can't even do the novice job correctly. It's like,
he's a piece of garbage.
She's like, I got them in the door. What more do you need me to actually do? Like,
yeah. I love it. Okay, wait. Is there a name for the second? Because there's 2.
No, I looked at this extensively. Okay. I went through the episode. The other one speaks and there's no name. And I think the only reason Lucia appears in the subtitles is because she hasn't, that puppet hasn't appeared yet. Yeah. And the voice just appears out of nowhere. It's just him and the King of Gildan, who doesn't have an actual name in the show, is just the King of Gildan, portrayed by Miguel Alvarez. I'm going to say that wrong because there's an accent above the A. But it's just those 2 guys on screen at that stage, and suddenly this female voice comes in and it says Ilusha, and then what the words that she's saying. But when the other Taint puppet appears, don't know why we're using the word puppet, but we always have. Taint Shadow appears, whatever. It's on screen, and then he speaks. Though it's a male voice. So there's no name given for that, and there's. In the list of cast, in the in-scene moments when it happens, there's nothing added there. So, like, Ilusha's in it,
fascinating.
In-scene. I'm playing it now on my other screen.
I'm gonna say that she's a past dragon.
I mean, it makes sense. He thinks,
I'm committing to that. Yep.
And it's his madness saying that that's who's talking to him, as opposed to
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the subtitles on now. Yeah, so he comes on the other one and says, just like your parents, just like your sister.
Oh,
But the
yeah.
in-scene X-ray doesn't add him in. There's no name for him. You know, I say him because it's a male-sounding voice, but that's, you know, interesting. But yeah, Past Dragon, I think fits. It was the last name that got me. I was like, Salid? Who the frick is that? You're like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So. But the difference between Alvara's portrayal of Logain in this to season 2 is astounding, and you don't pick it up unless you actually go scene to scene. I think.
Well, even again, to get ahead of ourselves, in episode 6, he's very much headed in that direction as well, and you see him at the end of episode 104 crying though too. Yeah, just like
but he still has like, you know, a presence and a confidence. Like, I should be at the forefront of what's going on. You know, when we see him in season 2, he's like a little bit like, well, now I'm like a much more reclusive person.
When he just shrugs into his sweater.
Yeah, when he shrugs into everything, and he's like, I'll give you my opinion and I'll speak my mind, you know, but I'm not going to be the person that dives into the middle of a situation. You know, you have to come to me. You know, I am now over here and suffering. And it was just, it was very stark having gone back to this and seeing him for that first time in his prime, I suppose. To compare it was very, very cool.
Yeah. Amazing performance.
Yeah.
And interesting. I mean, that's funny that what you said earlier about like Megan, about them cutting back to Logain after they say there could be 5 of us, or who else, who else is dragon. Because, you know, I was willing to go down the path of like, ooh, we're going to play with the idea of we don't know which of the Emansfield 5 it might be. But knowing that it's not Logain, like as a book reader, I didn't follow that false flag as easily. Like I just didn't jump into that as quickly.
Yeah, it's we know it's not him, but he in the show thinks it is, that he is the dragon, and he's gonna not fuck it up like other ones have. And
well, and non-readers too are gonna be
non-readers could absolutely follow that and be like, well, how do we know it's his kids? How do we know it's not this guy? You know, he's you know, just taking over a kingdom in effect. So
Mom's third favorite character. She when David was on a couple of weeks ago, Mom was listening, and she said, you and David had both just said that Perrin and Lan were your favorites, and she was like, me too. And then she said, oh wait, I forgot, but also Logain.
Valid.
Well, she's got a thing for Spaniards, so
she does. It's true.
And long hair.
Yeah. Something else that struck me in this episode, and again, it's smaller characters, but how different, like Maxim, Ivan, Alana, like all those characters are in season 1. It's like they are not by any means a focus, but they still deliver moments. And then like season 2, it's just like, oh yeah, here's the development for these people because we didn't develop them in season 1. That was just something else that struck me about this episode. It's on a rewatch. And it was kind of sweet to see them like before they got attention, sort of thing, you know?
Or they're more established.
But there's also I think that they are also a litmus test or a canary in the coal mine in a sense for, you know, like we don't ever get to see we get to see the Two Rivers folk happy for like a second before their entire worlds are turned upside down. But then we see these people who are sort of in their normal state of heightened is way higher than what the normal Two Rivers heightened is, right? Like they're warders and Aes Sedai. They live in a place of heightened, and they're actually in a camp with a false dragon. So they're at a place, but they're like, yeah, but we're still chill and we hang out and we like sit around the fire and we make sex jokes. And so there's an aspect of like seeing them in this lightness before they all know that the dragon has been reborn. And you know, which I don't even think they necessarily still know that by season 2, but then they know that Lanfear's been released, and so like this is them pre their big moment. And then when we
Well,
get to
although Alana makes the note where she's like, I chose the green. I didn't think I would see the last battle in my lifetime, but we're getting stronger and stronger false dragons and things like that. And so I think she's kind of starting to come to that realization.
No, that's true. That's true. She's definitely getting to they're probably more heightened than they would have been 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. I do want to say one small thing that is just kind of funny before we go any further. So in the beginning of episode 103, when Nynaeve's got the sword to Lan's throat, Mandarb is a shitty war horse. He's just in the back grazing while she's got the sword to his throat.
Yeah, but Mandarb is being like, oh, some chick has held up a sword to Lan's throat. Like, that chick is gonna lose.
Yeah, I think if she does. Yeah.
Also, does anybody watch that? I'm sorry, when we watch that, did anybody watch it and be like, the way that she actually tries to get him, and he obviously like disarms her or whatever, and he's like, you actually did try to kill me. Does anybody else watch it and be like, is he turned on right now? Because it sounds like
totally
he liked
turned
it.
on.
He liked that, didn't he?
He likes a dangerous woman. But the way she comes at him, I'm like, I don't think that wasn't a very good move. I was not. No.
There's a lot of inexperience there.
Well, she learns later.
She does.
From the warders in the town.
This is true. I like that moment. I hadn't considered that Mandarb should have gone and tried to save Lan.
I hate that either, Meg. I love that.
I think Mandarb was like, I'm on my union mandated break right now, so you're on your own, buddy. You got off the horse. The horse is now done. So
yes.
It's really fun moment.
But this is something dumb that I noticed, and I thought it was kind of funny.
Not dumb, it is funny. So, I don't know. Is there anything? I mean, we could go into details for all sorts of things on this, couldn't we? But
I mean, like from 103, that was like, I think there wasn't a ton. I felt like that we haven't talked ad nauseum about or whatever.
Yeah, like we get obviously Tom's very different from the books, but I think that was a good change. We get a dark friend introduction and death all in one go.
And Dana is so God, I love her so much.
Dana makes you want to be a dark friend.
Well, and we get the ambiguity of why people, which leans hard in season 2 of like, I know why you chose. I know why you swore your oaths. Like, we get the beginning of I had no other way out. The desperation, and it wasn't that, and it's like we're all miserable, and we get the beginning
petty power plays like it is mostly in the book.
And we get the beginning of Ishi's idea of like, this sucks, being respun back out into another miserable life is just, eternal misery does not sound fun. Let's break the wheel. Like, we get that beginning here as well, which I think is interesting. She was fantastic.
She introduces she talks about Ishmael for the first time in the series. That's the first time we hear his name, is when she talks about it at the end of episode 103.
She does?
Yeah, she said the last person that brought the dragon to the Dark One was Ishmael. Like, she says it all.
Yes. That's how I say
it. Fun note. I still did watch the everlasting stew or soup or whatever you want to call it that she serves at that place, and
where she's like throwing the pig's feet in and half drunk beers and
so that is very loosely based on a real thing, which is in those times you couldn't chill your food, so establishments in our world that was set in times that would be similar to a level of sophistication and infrastructure and things that the Wheel of Time currently is set in. You couldn't chill down your food, you couldn't store it in the fridge, you couldn't freeze it, you couldn't pre-portion, all that sort of stuff. So you would actually have a cook pot that would just constantly be simmering, because if you keep it above a set temperature, you're
killing all the bacteria.
You're reducing the bacteria to a safe level, to use the genetic term, the specific term. Jesus, Rob, where's the genetic term coming from? That's weird. So, and you would just, much as you get these master soups and, soy sauces in, China or something like that, I think, or Japan, where you just constantly, things just get boiled for like 100 years. Like it's a legit thing.
Yeah.
But it's not just all the scraps off the tables, like after people have eaten it and put back in. It's not like half drunk beers. It's not. That was done purely to be like, ugh,
this is the worst place ever. Yes.
Yeah. It was done purely for that. There's no way they would,
Well, at least she sniffed the beers before she poured them in.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Making sure there's no poison in them, I'm assuming.
I don't know. Or just anything else.
Does this IPA complement the current batch of whatever the fuck is boiling in this pot? It's stout.
We didn't mention and this was the introduction of a very dear character was in these 2 episodes. Gall.
No,
you think that's Gall?
Yes,
you think that's Gall?
He's got a stone dog.
That doesn't mean he's Gall.
It's Gall.
No,
it's Gall, people. We're not getting Gall. We're not getting Gall.
No, if they're gonna, not that I have proof for this, but they're gonna put us in characters like Melinda and stuff like that. There's no way we're not gonna get Gall. And if they were gonna just introduce him as dead already, I feel like there would have been some kind of reference later on or in season 2 of Met Aiel to be like,
Did you ever see our friend Gall?
Yeah. Many went off. This stupid stone dog by the name of Gall or something went off here, for example, and we're pretty sure he got shot down, because he.
And Perrin's like, oh, damn, dude.
Yeah.
My friend Matt, who I haven't seen in years, told me about it. Never mind. No, it's not going to happen. We would
So I don't think that was Gall. I just think that was a stone dog. I think to introduce.
I think it was a just in case. I think it was a just in case. If we're like, we just don't have space for him, we could tell everybody that was him.
Okay.
Well, and also,
and I know it's Matt, not Perrin, but
in that same scene, so Tom has definitely had dealings with the Aiel before.
Sure.
Yes.
Like a lot, because I really listened to what he was saying as they were burying. It says rest warrior of the threefold land. So a lot of times, wetlanders won't know that name for it. And then he says, may your soul find water and shade. Again, he's definitely had dealings with Aiel before. So I'm interested to see how that comes back around in the future.
Gleemen are welcome in the threefold land.
Right. Right.
So I think once we learn in season 3 more about the Aiel, I think that will be one of the things we learn just in passing conversation. And then it will, on a rewatch, you'd be like, oh, that means Tom must have traveled extensively in the threefold land and gone and had stained or whatever.
Maybe
I'm wondering if he's going to know some people.
Maybe in this turning, Tom was in love with Tigraine.
Whoa.
Oh.
But then he wouldn't technically be Aiel, though.
What?
Rand would not be Aiel.
I don't think Jenn is suggesting.
I didn't say he was Rand's dad. No, that's not. I just said he was in love with Tigraine. He was in love with Tigraine. Like maybe.
I mean, did you see
gays?
Tigraine in Blood Snow? She's gorgeous. So
Oh my God!
Did you mean instead of more gays?
Yeah, instead of more gays.
Okay.
Or then he just switched up. Next daughter heir.
He's got the next one after that too.
I just got a thing for daughter heirs before they're queens.
Too much power when you're queen, but if you're daughter heir, oh yeah, okay.
Exactly. Wait, did you see? I'm sorry. Did we see? Oh my God, Magdalena's. Did you see her latest video? Her latest social media of her going through therapy for her leg.
Oh, I've not seen the therapy one. I know she had the pins removed.
It's like getting the pins out. Oh my God.
She had fun. They're just there, like taking the pins out, and she's like, "Yay!"
Oh, she's probably doped up on something real good.
Might have. I don't know. I think she said I didn't need the medicine. Didn't she say?
She actually said, I didn't need the the painkillers and stuff. It didn't hurt.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's a lot.
Like, okay. I mean, she's a stunt actress.
She's badass.
Yeah. Woman's got. She's built of some pretty stern stuff.
She is. She is.
Honestly, she's the type of person who would go through like an actual life-threatening situation where, like, she'd be in like a huge train wreck and walk out without a scratch. She's that, she's that kind of tough sort of thing.
Taviran.
Yeah, she's Taviran. There we go. But yeah,
Truly. Is
So.
okay, Meg, we watched this fourth episode together the first time, right? Isn't this the one we watched
Yes,
together
at
in Florida?
Disney.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Because we
Yeah.
started like beating each other when like we thought Nynaeve was gonna start channeling.
Yeah.
And,
Yes, we were like
and Jack was
we
looking
had
back at
dreams.
us like, what is wrong with you guys?
I know. And then we were both doing this and I was crying. Yeah. It
Yes,
was
we
we
did.
were
That's right.
I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Yeah.
This is fake out death number 2 for Lan.
Or is this his first?
This
would be his
is his
first.
first, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
When is, because he almost like he quote dies a couple times, doesn't he, in this first season? Or looks like he's about to die. He doesn't actually die.
No.
I'm trying to think. I'm sure. Or is it just when
Maybe just season 2.
yeah, maybe
with
just the
Murdrell.
dream.
But yeah.
Oh,
The
the
nerd-
dream.
The Murdrell.
Yeah.
Oh no, in the dream, and then the testing.
Yeah.
He dies in the testing. Oh yeah, yes, you're right.
This
because-
is his
and then-
first moment.
Yeah.
where, it's
And I
just
think the only time, everybody else all the other fake out deaths were in Rand's dreams.
right.
Yeah. Or and
Yeah.
Maureen's. Didn't Maureen see everybody dead? You're gonna kill all these children, and when we get to the ways, Mach and Shin.
Well, I mean, we don't see
kinda.
it. She just
We don't see it,
hears
she's just-
Mach
You
and
just hear it.
Shin
That's
saying
right.
that to
Yeah.
her. Yeah.
That's
So
right.
yes, this is the first one of when you're like, wait, are you actually killing Rand in this? Sorry,
Or
Lan
Lan,
in this
yeah.
moment? Like, really?
Yeah.
And then obviously we get the blazing like a sun moment.
Yeah.
I watched this moment back more carefully, and because I didn't really pick up what was happening with the axes initially, because Logain's fighting against the shields, and then I've already forgotten his name.
Stefan.
Stepan's like, enraged and comes in with the axes, and you actually see Logain see the axes slip through the first shield let this do through the shield to him channeling against it, and then he catches the axes as well as trying to stop the shield
on the inside. Yeah.
on the inside, and then channels through the axes and shatter them. You actually see the two of them looking at each other, and he's just like, you could see it written on Logain's face what he's doing.
Like, thanks, dude.
He's just like, oh, get out of jail 3 card, thanks, buddy. And I totally missed that on other watches, and I was like, oh my god, Logain's struggling, and he's like, thank you, that really helped.
And also though there's so many taint threads like through that as it goes into them as well, that I felt like madness and out of control a little as well. Like I wasn't 100% sure that was Logain's intention was to shatter it and send it back out, but that it was just sort of also potentially even a part of the taint and the not being in control. I think you're right. I think he was very aware.
I think it
of what
was
he doing.
intentional.
Yeah, I think he was definitely aware. Maybe it made it more chaotic than he was. Maybe he was just going to be like, I'm going to blow these up in your face and kill you.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to deal with the Aes Sedai, and it just kind of took everyone out.
Yeah.
But it was, just the moments of them looking at each other, and you clearly see it written on Logain's face what he's doing was really, really cool.
Yeah.
And then him.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying.
It was a new thought.
And then, him bowing down to, or like cowering in effect to Nynaeve after she, does her bubble healing.
Well, and that's where I was headed next. So because we were all like, how can he see her channeling? Right. And Sarah Nakamura said that was on purpose. We knew what we were doing. Right. And he could see Rand glowing after he was gentled. So I think he thinks that he can see channelers, but or channeling. I think what he actually sees is his actual talent in the books, which is ta'veren. And so I think Nynaeve is ta'veren, and I think she's very strongly ta'veren and is glowing very brightly. I think that's what he saw.
I've got it playing on my second screen right now, and I don't think it's Weaves.
It's not Weaves that we see from her.
I think she's actually, when healing, creating light. Like
you could create
like she's not in control of what she's doing.
Yeah, she's not in control. Like you can create like a thunderclap with wind.
Right.
You could then also create a bolt of lightning at the same time, and you would see the lightning, but you wouldn't see the weave that creates the lightning. I think when she's healing, she's creating light at the same time. She's literally exploding with light, and it's uncontrolled power, and it's those weaves are creating light as well as healing all in the same breath. And I think that's what's blinded him. I don't think it's anything. I'm going to watch it again and see if there's like any shadows. If there's a shadow behind it, perhaps we haven't seen, because then that would just back that up. I don't know.
Right. But I like where you're going, Megan. I think that because I think anybody who tries to sell us at the end of this series that the three boys are the only Taverin, I'm going to punch them, frankly. Because I know Jordan never said it for reals, but whatever. I'm just not going to go down that path. So anyway, the point is, yes, Nynaeve and Egwene are Taverin, and yet that is because he says, "I saw you and I saw you glowing" to Rand. He doesn't say, "I saw you channeling."
And it was after he was gentled. So in the traditional mechanics of the, I mean, again, the mechanics have changed in certain things from the books to the show, but like you would think that you wouldn't be able to see weaves and channeling after you've been gentled.
Right.
Or still.
But you were able to keep your talent. Well, also it doesn't surprise me that he would still have his talent, especially because we know that
that doesn't have anything to do with the power, that talent.
Right. Yeah. He does see weaves in Moraine though.
He sees the weaves on Moraine. He sees the male weaves on Moraine. And yes, he can.
Well, yeah, but he's already been gentled though, so that kind of
But also that again, like
that could be part of his talent,
And also, I think them alluding to the fact that gentling and stilling isn't permanent at this stage of the show is fine, because I think that is what they're doing. I think that there's an aspect of like, in the books it's considered final. We get the only idea we get that it might not be is that Nynaeve is like anything short of death should be able to be healed, and she just insists on that.
Right.
But I think
and they also allude to the fact that if you burn yourself out,
you can't
and lose the ability to channel, that can't be healed. But if you're gentled or stilled, it's a cut and can be healed.
Yeah, it has because Nynaeve tries on Satella Nun.
Yeah, and there's nothing there to reconnect. That's true. I really do like this where you've gone with a talent of being able to see Taverin, and the being able to see male weave still even after he's gentled could definitely allude to the healing thing. Having watched that scene twice now from episode 104, it does feel like she created light as well. Genuinely, he's not like hiding from weaves. I think she created a giant ball of light whilst doing a giant ball of healing, because there are specific weaves flowing into like Leandrin's, like in her right shoulder got like a big cut sort of thing. There's a weave flowing into that cut. So and there's no brightness to that weave itself, but there's still a lot of brightness going on. So I think she's created a huge ball of light. But I think then that's a nice easy way, because the non-readers are not going to watch this and be like, well, he shouldn't be able to see that.
Right.
They have no idea what's going on.
Right.
So they're going to be like, wow, she just really lit up and she healed everybody in the process. But it would then be a good subtle way of saying like, well, yeah, he did see that, but also, he saw a Taverin. But then why would he not see her glowing all the time if she is Taverin?
I don't think he'd seen her until that point. True.
Yeah. That's I don't think we'd see the two of them in a scene together.
Yeah.
Or maybe when she was particularly bending the pattern around her, that's when she becomes really, maybe that's how they apply when you have really strong Taverin moments when the pattern is really moving, then you glow brighter for someone who can see Taverin.
And what is the phrase he uses when he says he sees Rand? When he tells Rand in season 2? We'll get there. But there's some phrase he uses, and I'm wondering how much it was like glowed like the sun or glowed like the.
It was something about how bright he was. Yeah.
Also, what we didn't talk about, and we don't have to get into the weeds about it, but I think that we see for the first time we see Maureen at her most manipulative and the beginnings of why people might not trust her. Like it's hard for me. I mean, from the very first book when I read it when I was 19, I was like, I trust her. Like I was like, what's wrong with people who don't trust Maureen? So I it's always been hard for me to like.
I always trusted she had good intentions, but I felt that she was ruthless enough that if you had to be left by the wayside, or you died in the process, that was an acceptable loss.
Yes.
And you can't fully trust someone who finds, the death of someone she's using as an acceptable loss.
Yeah.
The ends do not justify the means.
Yes.
Right. And for her, they most definitely do.
For her, yes. The ends do justify the means. And I can never fully trust someone who believes that.
Yeah.
Even if they are someone who is usually very trustworthy.
And her moment of coming in, because Lan has some doubt of like, well, we don't, we think that he was born that moment, but maybe he's older. Like he's like, okay, it's not the right age. But her moment when she comes in and speaks to him and she's like, you're not it. Like, it's just, it's great. It's great. It was, that was shocking to me when I watched it the first time. I was like, she really knows her. Like, yeah.
Yeah. She comes into him with almost there's a huge level of respect there.
Yeah.
She walks in almost like he's not an equal, but there's something about him that is equal to her. She's like, you respect me, I respect you, we understand this about each other. I know I can walk up to you and ask you these questions, have this conversation, even though in theory, the two of us should be fighting hammer and tongue right this very second.
Yeah.
Because
when it was really interesting, her coming into the cave and you kind of saw her silhouette shadow on the wall. It was a really cool, moment.
Yeah. Yeah,
you could see her bolero shoulders were really kind of popping in the shadow. It looked fantastic.
It did.
It was. So, but yeah, very cool set of episodes. Like I said, my biggest takeaway from these two, like I said at the beginning, was that this felt like we'd had, here's your 2 episodes here's your first movie to introduce you to the world and the people, that are in it. Here's the base of it. Here's some drama. Here's some scary fighting. Here's running for your life. Now it's like, not slowed down, but, as opposed to like a very small, narrow window that's very intense, the window opened up and it'd be like, let's tell you about Tinkers. Let's tell you about Aes Sedai. Let's tell you about channeling. Let's tell you about, many, many different things, wolves, all sorts of stuff. And it widened the Wheel of Time for season 1, this block. I think that's my biggest takeaway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Did we just manage to do 2 episodes in an hour?
Yeah, we did.
We did.
Wow.
Yeah, we did.
Good
took
for
us
we did good.
I think we spent like 80 minutes doing one like the last episode 102 or something.
Oh my God. Guess what's still on my desk from the last time I actually put this in my coffee in the morning? This is how bad I have not been working at my desk very often lately. But the coffee never made it up.
The rum chata is on the desk.
I could just do shots of rum chata while we're
oh my God.
Sorry.
Hilarious.
That's really embarrassing. That's really embarrassing.
All right. Meg, I know that we need to make sure that Mr. Moz is okay. Shall we call it there and
I think
save the game? We didn't even talk about what characters we could play. Maybe next time we pick 3 characters.
Well, I do have a new game for us too, remember? Because I was trying to change it up a little bit.
Oh, yes.
New for us. So for next time.
Okay.
Whatever.
For next time, when maybe we're not, trying to be limited because, we need to make sure people are happy and healthy. So, and not falling over and hurting themselves.
Yes.
Like we thought potentially at the beginning. So,
yeah.
But yeah. Thank you for joining us, folks, on our endeavors to get through all the episodes before season 3 drops. Please like the video or rate the podcast wherever you listen or watch, be that YouTube, Spotify, Podbean, I don't know, Apple Podcasts, whatever it might be. We love those 5 stars. So pour them in. Tell us you love us. Follow us on Twitter, which is @3wheelpod, or on Instagram, which is 3.wheeling.
Got it.
Which is where you can find the drink reels and the audiograms that we put together, and we will figure out what we're doing for this one. But yeah.
Thanks, Nils, for being in chat. It was really fun I've been chatting with Nils a little bit.
Yeah, no, it is great to have. If you want to be able to join us live in chat when we record, you need to become a patron. It's a perk.
You also, as a patron, get access to the full unedited episode. I don't take hours out, but I do take some of the moments out that probably add a little bit more character about us just shit talking each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it for this week, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. And yeah, just go and tell everyone about us because we're awesome, and I'll write an outro eventually.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Once again, we've proven that even when you're the third wheel,
You can always find a place to fit in
Join us next time
on Three Wheeling.
on three wheeling.
on Free Wheeling.